All right. Hello and welcome, everyone. Today's video is part of the ongoing effort to expand the public archive, which you can check out at brozime.com. I'm developing the public archive to be an all-in-one, easy-to-use guide for new and returning Warframe players. If you'd like to get early access to the project notes in progress, or to provide feedback or new ideas for the public archive, you can become a member on Patreon, or additionally, subscribe on Twitch. Thanks so much to all of my current subs and patrons for supporting the project. Now let's jump into the video. All right. Hello, everyone, and welcome. So, today we're going to be talking about Kahl's Garrison. The full Garrison is open, including Kahl's weekly missions and the rewards that we're going to be able to get through it, and how much those rewards, like how frequent they're going to be and such like that. That stuff is all known to us now and available. So, I want to talk about it. In the first part here, just real quick, I'm going to be talking about my impressions of this content and what I feel like needs to be better. If you don't care about that and you just want to know what to do, there should be a time thing on the bottom. Just skip to that. Otherwise, though, I think that this content has a lot of potential, and I really enjoyed the first mission. Obviously, the quest is like the first mission, and that was really fun. But the first of the weekly missions, of which there are 3, I thought was really good. Now, the structure for getting things in this content, however, is to do different challenges. You actually get nothing for doing any of the different challenges. You actually actively get nothing for just doing the mission itself. But the challenges are what gives you all of the currency that you can get each week. On the first week, or not on the first week, but on every week, you can get a grand total of 105 stock, which is the currency that you're going to use from Kahl's missions to get your rewards. And just completing the mission, the only thing that will do is increase your rank with Kahl. And because we got 1 rank from rank 1 to rank 2 for this first mission, ostensibly it would take about 5 weeks if we're going to get 1 rank each time we do one of these missions until we're at max, in order to be able to have access to any rewards that we want. But we have to rank up first, and then we'll have all of the currency and stuff to spend on whatever we want. Now, this mission I like, but the challenges need a little work. Some of them are very good and fine, and I like them, and they're like an enjoyable side objective, and others are work, and it's pretty easy to determine which ones are work and which ones are good. So, in this, complete the mission without dying and without being veiled. Good. Just do well in the mission. Solid challenge. Complete the mission in under 15 minutes. So, this challenge on its face has the potential to be like, is that too, strict in terms of timing and stuff? But everyone has the same gear with Kahl, and I can safely say you can very easily complete this mission in like 6 to 8 minutes if you are specifically going for this challenge. So, I think this is a fully reasonable challenge for this mission. And we also have a bunch of collectibles. So we have remove 5 veils using Veilbreaker, which is a collectible in a different shape. And then we have complete 5 gene stamps. These are Grenier dog tags. I think these are done very well. And then we have find 4 confiscated K-Drive parts, which is better after the hotfix, I will say for sure, but maybe not perfect. And then we have find and collect Chipper's tools, which is abysmal. Absolutely, completely terrible. And the difference between all of these collectibles is how much of a pain in the ass they are to find. So for removing 5 veils using Veilbreaker, basically it's just a character who has a veil on. You need to use your 3 on them and take the veil off of them in order to collect them, essentially. What this is basically you need to find the person standing around with a veil on their face. They're big, they're easy to see, it's not a problem, and it's a fine objective. It's also, clearly what Kahl would be doing. And we have the gene stamps. The gene stamps are found on Fallen Grenier. There's a bunch of them in the mission, but 5 of them are going to have gene stamps. These are basically just dog tags, and when you get kind of close to where these are, they light up bright orange and blink near you, telling you that you should go and pick them up. So, you don't have to very minutely look around the map and be extremely specific in exactly what you're looking for in order to find these things. If you are in the room with them, basically, if you're in like the same half of the room with them, you'll know that they're there and you can pick them up, and they are a good collectible. The find 4 confiscated K-Drive parts, these glow blue a little. They have like a little blue light that comes out of them essentially, and I found them pretty easy to find, but some of the parts are very, very small and they can be troublesome to find. So it's kind of neither here nor there. The actual board itself, if you're finding that, is really easy, kind of no matter where it is. But whenever you're finding these tiny little engine pieces, it can be a pain in the ass, depending on where they are, for you to even see them, especially if they are at height above you, where the blue light is much less visible. And then find and collect Chipper's tools. This is a single item, and it does not appear in your like log of quests to do on screen while you're in the mission. You have to pull up the tab menu to even know you need to do this or remember you need to do this. And on top of that, there is no like real glow or icon to this. They have the crate, or this one object has the crate shimmer that plays every couple of seconds, which is not very easy to pick out in this very chrome environment. And also, the sides of this box that you need to find are the exact same texture and color of the walls in this level. It is truly horrific to look for. I have found it 2 times, and most of that is just raw luck of, oh yeah, I guess it is there, halfway seeped into the wall or floor. It is truly awful. I personally think that all of these collectibles, except for the veils, should have the exact same system as the gene stamps, where these like glow bright orange whenever you're kind of near them, telling you that they're there. The confiscated K-Drive parts should be blue, telling you that they're there. And find and collect Chipper's tools should be, I don't know, green. Whatever works to actually let you know that this object is nearby, because it is impossible to see if you are just running through the level or just doing the mission. It's simply not going to happen. And for the rest of these, the veils and the gene stamps, you will know where they are, and you will see them, and you might have to look for like 1 or 2 of them to clean things up, but they are going to be findable. You're going to know what you're looking for, and it's good. So there's a mixed bag here in terms of the challenges, but I want to reiterate that I do really like this mission. So, with that, let's talk about actually doing this mission and finding these things. So if you're looking for anything specific, I just want to talk about the terminology of this mission and how I have decided to talk about it, and also some places where you can look for specifically Chipper's tools, because I know a couple of the spawn locations for it, but also the rest of the items as well. So let's get started.
Call ready.
Yeah, this mission is not very difficult, but it can be frustrating with all of the seek and find and some of the objects not being great to look for. And we're just going to talk about a lot of terminology and stuff. This area is what I call intro. No items can be in intro. I'll tell you when we are out of intro.
We can rig these veils to overload and short out every other
Also,
veil
sprinting
range.
forward while dashing forward is fast for Kahl, and also you do get the DR on dash, so I would highly suggest it when you're in combat. This is the camera system, so you can use this to click on these things Watchdogs style, I would say, and open stuff up. In this first room, this is camera 1. Camera 1 can have items in it. Often places like this or like on the table. I've been told that they can spawn, but I have not seen it myself. Make sure you look around. Camera 1, we have these multiple locks that we need to take down. And also, you can transfer between cameras. So if you click this camera, go to this one and open the door to the room that we are in. Hit X and exit. And then that brings us out onto what I like to call upstairs. Also worth noting, this noise you're hearing, the like veil noise, that does not mean a collectible is nearby. I sure do wish it did. But that is just a noise that some parts of the level make. Up here, if there is a K-Drive part that is spawned here, it can be hard to see, like I said, with elevated areas. So make sure and check that. And then just running through this whole level that we are on, I call upstairs. The level below it is main level. And then we have downstairs and the pits. So up here in upstairs on this side, we have this back room. You can see this nice orange bright glow that I like a lot on the Grenier. We can grab the gene tags there. Thankfully, I can still collect these even if I've already done them. And then you can see out here, that is our K-Drive board that has that distinct blue glow, which is also pretty good. That's much better after the hotfix. But the rest of this room can have stuff in it, so make sure that you look for everything. We probably are not going to collect everything in this run, just so I can make it pretty quick, but that is what it is. Melee, just these guys, get them out of the way. You have to hack this terminal in order to get through the level. The Narmer hacking is, of course, back. That will raise the platform there. Down here, if you're doing this mission for the first time, you'll encounter Chipper, will be in this room for you to deveil. But this is the second camera, which you can just click this here. Also worth noting, over here, there is a thing you can click which will kill one of the Narmer guys rooting around if he's nearby it, which he's headed back over right now. It's this dude right here. I believe it is, anyway. Oh, no, it must be the far guy. I'll have to wait for him to move. And there we go. All right, so that kills that guy, so you don't have to worry about him. He can be annoying. He's placed pretty specifically to be annoying, I think. So we have that open now. Heading on over here. On both sides of this area, this door, a little bit of a spoiler, this is called Boss Door, and the opposite side is Gate. So the two sides of Boss Door have Grineer bodies, and the Grineer bodies do not necessarily have gene tags, but they can, and so you should check them, essentially. The other side, I'm not going to bother checking, but there is also a Grineer body up there, and there can also be other collectibles, so there's that. I have never seen anything be down here in this area, so I would not, like, super thoroughly check that. I've never seen anything spawn there, and I've ran this quite a few times at this point. Moving on, up and over here. This is how you get up over onto here. You can just jump over there and head that way. But to save time, we're not going to do that. We can jump down here. This goes downstairs. So this is the chipper box. This is the really hard to find thing. This is one of the few spots it can spawn where it's pretty visible because it has a black backdrop to it. So one of the things that you can do, and I would suggest you do, if you are really having a hard time finding this thing, literally just reset the mission until it spawns here, pick it up, and finish the mission. Worth noting, you do have to complete the mission after you have picked these up in order to lock in your progress, and you have to complete them all of any given objective, like all 5 veils, in one run. So keep that in mind. Your progress does not, like, save between different runs. Another Grineer body here. Then we can head into kind of like the downstairs back rooms. You see there is a Grineer in here with a corpse with a gene key. And then we have one of the veiled guys. We can throw our 3 at them, hit interact on them, and then you do need to mash E in order to deveil them.
We go now.
So he's deveiled. And then this back room, this is another place where Chipper's box can spawn. I would suggest, like, picking a couple that you're comfortable with if you're going to reset for Chipper's box, because it's just higher likelihood that you're going to see it if you have a couple spots that you check instead of just the one, but still. Then we have the vents, which lead to the pits. K-Drive parts can spawn directly in this tunnel, worth noting. And we usually see more veiled guys. I'm not going to go through the animation on everybody, but you can check around here for... I've never seen K-Drive parts down here, but I have seen Solaris and stuff. In here, another Grineer body for you to check. And then down here, while you're here, if you're checking, there's the Solaris over there. I always check under these stairs. I think it's a Chipper spawn location, but I've not seen it personally. You're going to want to hack this because it is part of the needs of this quest. Also worth noting, these guards here, the Narmer Veil guards, guys, you can use your 3 to stun them and walk past them. Here's another veiled guy. This room, Chipper's box can spawn in this room, which is worth noting. And then back here, hit this guy. There's another Grineer gene back here. The box also can apparently spawn back here. I have not seen Chipper's box back here personally, but apparently it can happen. Then moving out this way, we have upstairs where we're also going to do the Soma Cord and also how to get to that K-Drive part we saw earlier. So from here, you can jump on this box. This box is movable. You can use a blunt to do this jump as well. Which is just what your 2 is as Kahl. That's what that's called. We have the K-Drive part here, first one that we've seen. Then moving on over here, we have one of our veiled guys up here. I've only seen veiled guys spawn up here, but I'm pretty sure Chipper's box can spawn here too. And then over here, this is the Soma Cord, which you can see through these gates. There's no way to turn these gates off, to my knowledge, but this is where the Soma Cord is. And also, as Kahl, you don't have to scan it. You can just pick it right up. So moving on from here, we can head just straight down. There's another terminal we need to hack. Also worth noting, these stairs, there's a Grineer body under these stairs, I believe on both sides. So here and there, and I think Chipper's box can spawn on both sides as well. So that is worth checking for Chipper's box. Anything in the first room is pretty much worth checking for Chipper's box, I would say. If you don't find Chipper's box in room 1, like which is this big area with the upstairs, downstairs, I would tell you to, if you're specifically looking only for that, to just reset. As it's... I've never seen it in the second room, and it might not even spawn sometimes. It might just be buggy.
Good kill.
Yeah, then we have this room. We have another K-Drive part here, which can spawn in this box. We have the cameras. Run this. No, you can use WASD and the arrow keys to turn really fast, which is nice specifically for this part. We can turn off the last of these keys.
Time to go through, Kahl.
Sneak, sneak, sneak.
You can beat these MOAs up.
Smart.
Also, in terms of sneaking, you only need to avoid the Narmer guys. It doesn't matter if you avoid anyone else. Also, I've been told that Chipper's box can spawn on this side. I have not seen it on this side. I have seen it on the opposite side. And this is the spot where it kind of spawns in the wall. Obviously, it's not going to be there, but right here. It is right into this corner, and it looks exactly like this object, basically, whenever it's smushed in here. So it is very hard to see, but just worth noting that checking this corner, if this has, like, an edge to it, like another plank or whatever, that's Chipper's box. It just is kind of in the wall. So yeah, there's that. And then anything else here, there's not really any other notable spots to check here, I would say. And then we can move on. The next zone is mostly just going to be like the puzzle, but like a lot more Grenier spots that you can pick things up, and a lot more K-Drive spots to pick things up. And I think there's a few different Veil spawns over here. So most of your Veils are going to be in the first area. Okay, we can just jump past here. Don't have to worry about these MOAs. You can just ride up along this. If the Narmer guy is standing right in front, it's worth just going over here. Oh, no. Yeah, stun him. Stunning them resets their aggro. So you can just stun them and then, like, walk away. Fortunately, got seen by the MOAs. There we go. So that guy's resetting. Give him a minute. There we go. He's headed back now. He's just mad. Let him move on. And then there's two of these guys in this room, but you can skip the other guy entirely with what I'm about to show you. So you can use your 2 for platforming, and I would highly suggest it. So you can throw this down here and jump up the side. Also, K-Drive part here. So you can have that spawn. I've actually never seen it actually spawn there before. Someone did tell me that, though. And that's also one of the ones that's harder to see, is that flat part on the ground. There can be an armor guy up here, so be careful whenever you come around the corner. Then up here, so in this room, there's a Narmer guy that rolls around down there. We're going to do this part of the mission, but only the first half of it, because it will make that guy move. So this is a little basically cipher puzzle, and you have these other cameras in the room in order to figure out what all the things need and figure out the code here. So you have these symbols that you can cycle by clicking this, and then this will check it. And then you can see the other symbols around here. So we have like this arrow pointing up, basically. You can kind of see the symbol there, but you can always tell by what the top of it is, what it is. So it's just the same one here. So off to the camera on the other side, hack this so it starts showing us what the last one is going to be. Then we have another one of the up arrows weirdly. Got 3 of those and a circle. So it was already on it. There we go. We set that up. That gives us access to a gun.
Well done, Kahl.
Now, if you do the next actual objective, which is the target marker, you will kick off infinite spawns of enemies, and you don't want to do that. Up here, there can be parts and stuff, so it's just checking, and then we can take the elevator down.
Old gun, good.
You'll notice the Narmer guy is gone, which is great. So we can just freely come down here and check. Behind here, there can be K-Drive parts. And then right here, we have a Grenier guy on both sides. Both of them can have a tag, so be sure to check. And then up and over here on our left, we have another Grenier that can have a tag. And then over here, at the tops of these, I have seen the Veiled guys. I've seen like up to 2 of them that just hang out up here. They will sometimes run over here as well, which is worth noting. And then back over this way before we head upstairs. Obviously, we have this guy that we had seen before from the other side. Also, this is not an open pit as much as it looks like one. There is glass on this, so you can run through that. And then over here, there can be Veiled guys here. And also we have the Grenier that has spawned on the opposite side here. Forgot about him. He's behind the boxes.
Will remember.
And then back over here, we have another Grenier body in this corner. And as far as I've seen, the rest of this room down here, at least, doesn't really have anything. I've not seen anything spawn in like the middle of this room or anything like that. It's been pretty clear. And we can just head on up. There may be some MOA or whatever, but I really wouldn't worry about it. You can just blow them away with the Exergis that you have at this point.
You next.
Blow these guys away. Then also there can be a Solaris or just a Veiled guy over there. We'll grab the target marker though. The way that the target marker works is you need to hit G. That will send you into this menu, and then it will call down an airstrike on whatever you are looking at. The only thing you need to worry about is to hit this guy. I'm going to show you kind of like the speed strat here. By this point, you should have gotten all the collectibles that you're going to collect. You do not take fall damage, and you can negate hard landings by dodging when you land. And we are just going to get right to the end as fighting as few enemies as possible. This is going to kick off infinite spawns, so you don't want to try and like clear the map or anything like that as you get down this way. This next part, you do not have to do this. However, I suggest it, which is to jump up on top of this again. Oh, I messed it up. Oops. I'm sliding all over. Jump up on top of this again. And then run along this while dodging. They kind of can't shoot you up here when you're doing this, so you can get along this whole area pretty quickly. And then you can just jump down. They also have a hard time pathing behind you when that happens, so you can mitigate how many of them are chasing you. You can also run up along this left side here whenever you're going this way. You try and mitigate as many of them as possible once again. You will want to try and shoot these drones, but make sure you reload. And then when this door behind you starts closing, you need to turn around before the boss actually spawns and kill these guys. Otherwise, it's going to be really annoying, trust me. But with the door closed, you're not going to have to worry about any other ads spawning. But as we head forward, the actual boss is going to spawn. Who's just a big old Arachnoid. So the Arachnoid, this wants you to use your 3 to stun him, and then use the airstrike to deal a bunch of damage to him. In addition, you can jump up on top of stuff like this and make your life really easy. Pretty much using the old combo here to do a lot of damage, and then waiting until the health bar changes back to yellow to fire anymore. There we go. No collectibles spawn in this final room as far as I'm aware, which is worth noting. And then we're done. Yeah, that took just slightly more than 15 minutes. Obviously, you could do the speed run and collect most of the things, although the veils are going to add some time to that. So, yeah. That's like how you're going to go through this mission. I would highly suggest that you wait and just find Chipper's tools in a replay and do like the speed run in a replay also, as the replays are pretty short, especially once you have found the veils, the gene stamps, and the K drives, which I would probably suggest doing just in your first run. Completing the mission without dying is also not particularly hard, as I'm sure you saw. You're going to have the same gear I do, so you should be fine. But yeah, that is Kahl's new stuff in terms of this first mission that we've got. And now I just want to talk about the rewards and stuff and kind of where things are with that. So, this is Chipper, who you rescue. In here, we have a number of different rewards. First and foremost, at the very beginning, you get the Slaytra available and Synax's systems available. No point in spending your stock on Synax until you can get all of his parts, so I wouldn't spend anything for now. And the Slaytra, having used it, it is entirely mediocre. It's not great. Also, its passive appears to not be working right now. So probably would avoid it and save your stock unless you just really want that mastery. It's very cheap to build and not a big deal. Otherwise, Archon mods. So I have all of these now. Thank you very much to Stars for trading me a set of these. Although it did give you platinum, but regardless, I very much appreciate it. We have Archon continuity. I think that this mod is irrelevant, completely irrelevant. Changing toxin statuses into corrosive statuses is very whatever and basically useless. It's not worth the 40k endo, I think, on any Warframe in the game pretty easily. So yeah, wouldn't suggest it. Don't bother. Archon stretch. There are 3 really notable Warframes for this, and maybe future applications. Volt really wants this, of course. Wisp really wants this because her 1 deals electric damage, so that gives her energy, so that's good. And Gyre also really wants this because she does a ton of electric damage, and she would appreciate the energy over time. Notably, Gyre is not in a very good place right now when considering the state of her ult. Wisp is incredibly good, and on the build, you're most likely to use Archon Stretch for Volt, which is his 4 AoE clear build. I don't think that that build is particularly good, but if that's what you use to play ESO, this is going to be an upgrade for you for sure. Archon Intensify. Now, this has too specific of a want from you, in my opinion. This needs restoring health with abilities, grants 30% ability strength for 10 seconds. So, assuming you can keep that always up, this is a 60% ability strength mod, which means it would be a no downside transient fortitude with 5% extra strength, essentially. The downside is that you have to restore health, which means you need to take health damage. So unless you're using the aura that will damage your health whenever you kill enemies so that you can heal, this is not going to be worthwhile, and you're going to lose out on your aura, which could just be growing power for 25% strength, much easier than this. So I probably would just tell you to not really care too much about Archon Intensify. A lot of the frames that would care about this much power strength are already running Umbral Intensify anyway, and all of the work that goes into this for the additional 16%, if you're just using baseline Umbral Intensify, that is, it doesn't seem very worth it. Archon Vitality. So this has some interesting applications. This is status effects from abilities that deal heat damage will be applied twice, and that's super interesting. At the very least, I think this definitely goes on Ember. Just objectively, that seems like the #1 home for this mod. People have speculated, and there are arguments for Protea, perhaps, for specifically her 2, but I don't think that there is ever a world where I'm running this on Protea if I don't already have, like, probably 3 Crimson Shards and 2 Amber Shards in her. The Crimson Shards to make up for the strength I would lose, because I would probably replace Augur Strength, Augur Power, the one that gives strength. I probably would replace that mod, Strength, with the strength from the Shards, and then put this in to potentially have, my heat procs be a bit stronger. This is not double damage like people seem to be saying. That's not what this does. It's just your heat procs happen twice. But the 440% health, specifically on a frame like Protea, that can really help you survive toxin procs you otherwise would not live through. And that, I think, has a little bit of value. But that's, like, way, way deep in the rabbit hole of this mod. And I think it's much better for people who just really like to play Ember. Also, this is not worth it for, like, Thermal Sunder builds and stuff. Like, don't bother. It's not going to be worth it. Then we have Archon Flow. This is a primed flow, except for it costs 2 more. The other effect is completely and totally irrelevant. Enemies killed by cold abilities have a 10% chance to drop an energy orb, and there's a cooldown on it? No, thank you. Absolutely not. Maybe if you are a truly desperate frost, but yeah, probably not. Probably not worth the 40k endo. Probably don't do that. Unless you, for whatever reason, can't get a primed flow, but it's not that hard. It just involves waiting, probably. Other stuff in here. The rest of the Stynex parts. The Egret. This is really cheap, and if you have the ability to build it, I would highly advise you to do so. This is pocket Brahmas, and while they do have severely limited ammo, much like the regular Brahma, and they don't have access to Hunter munitions, these are extremely fun and very effective, even in Steel Path levels. I have really enjoyed these. These have been super fun. If you want the build for them, I'm not going to show it here, but it is in my Stynex video, so go check that out, because I do show them there in case anybody wanted the build early, and there will be a whole other video on these later, I'm sure. This is super cheap to build. If you have the ability to get the blueprint, you should grab it and build it. Super fun weapon, highly advised. And then the Aphentis. The Aphentis I have used quite a bit. I have not found any real reason to be using it. There may at some point be a reason to use its alt fire, because the buff is reload speed, fire rate, and ammo pools, and reducing recoil, which are all pretty good things, but it's really short. It's a 10-second buff if you don't kill enemies while you're standing in it, and the actual primary fire of this thing is very disappointing, and it has an extremely limited ammo pool, especially for the kind of no power that it puts out. Then finally, we have the Fog of War Ephemera, which I think looks awesome. I think this looks awesome. I'm not going to put it on Protea, but there are a few frames like Revenant that absolutely would love to have this ephemera. I think it is a very high quality one, and I am definitely going to be picking it up. But of course, it is just a fashion item for you. Now let's talk about the Archon shards. What is the rate at which you're going to be able to get Archon shards? Well, this is max rank that you need for this. So you're not going to be able to start getting Archon shards from this until 5 weeks have passed at the very least, unless you need more missions completed as the weeks go on. Then it's going to be even longer before you can start getting Archon shards. But notable things. This is disjointed from the weeklies of the Archons, which means this is blue right now. The current one that's up is red, and then these would likely cycle to always not be the same. So if you only care about 1 or 2 types of shards, you could skip some weeks of some things if you're under-geared for it, and it takes a long time for you, I suppose. But I don't think that's going to be a problem for most people. It just means you're going to get different shards each week, like 2 different of like the options, basically. So if you get like a blue and a red one week, you're going to get a like orange and a red the next week, and mixing that up is nice, and you'll have more of a variety. You won't be getting like 2 blues and then 2 ambers and then 2 reds. And that'll be nice. Also, as I said earlier, each week you can get 105 stock. These cost 90 stocks. You're going to have a 15 stock surplus every single week that you get Archon shards, which is really nice, especially if they decide to add anything to this store. I do not know currently whether or not when you redeem this, if it has a chance to be Tau forged. I sure hope it does. And the other thing that I've seen a lot of people talking about that I agree with is that there needs to be some kind of pity or some way to merge shards into their Tau forged state for those of us that want the really strong ones. So I have a few different ideas for that. The main one is that if you do 3 of the same shard, so if you had 3 Azure Archon shards, you can merge those into 1 Tau Forged. I think that's pretty fair. The other one is 4 of any shard becomes a Tau Forged of your choice. So you could do like 2 blues, an amber, and a red, and then you can turn that into an amber Tau Forged. With it being 4, that means you'd be able to get 1 Tau Forged of whatever you want each week. And that's like, you know, a month and change to basically get a Warframe done, where you'd be able to just pick, or actually that's not a month and change. That's every 2 weeks. So that's actually about, you know, it's quite a while. It's quite some time. It's 2.5 months. It's like, you know, coming up on 3 months. And that's if you do it every single week, that you'd be able to really finish a Warframe very specifically without getting lucky with the Tau shard earlier. So I think that would be pretty fair if it was like any 4 shards for any 1 Tau forged. But yeah, I don't know what they're planning for the future to like give us access to more Tau shards, if we would be getting these in Duviri or wherever these would be popping up as rewards in the future, perhaps. But I do think that there is definitely reason to want a kind of guaranteed path or a pity path towards getting those Tau forged shards. But yeah, that's what's up with Kahl's Garrison. I'm very curious to see the 2 other missions for next week and the week after, as they are going to always be in a sequence. And I think that the Kahl stuff is pretty cool, barring a few improvements that need to happen to it. And I'm also definitely curious if these challenges are always going to be the same. Because if these are the same every time a sneaky sabotage rolls around, that will get a little old. And my other thing about this is that I really wish that this was synced RNG across the entire player base. And what I mean by that is whenever these challenges roll and this mission gets generated, I wish it was the same for everybody. Where the veils were in the same place, the gene stamps were in the same place, and the K drive parts were in the same place, and the chippers tools were in the same place. So that this is a solo mission, but if you go and ask someone, they don't just tell you, I don't know, man, it could be anywhere. It's much more like fun for a community to not only be able to, like, you know, help each other with guides and stuff, but also if you just ask your friend who did the mission earlier, hey, where's the chippers tools? And they tell you it's downstairs in the back room at the dead end. Like, that's helpful. Like, you can help each other, as opposed to the answer being, I don't know, man, RNG, fuck off. And it's a considerable improvement that I would hope DE would consider to bring a little bit more community to what this mission at the very least is. But the other missions seem like they're going to be quite a bit different from this. So we'll see where that all goes. Anyway, that is going to do it for this video. Thank you for hanging out. I think it's a good thing, and I will see you tomorrow. Also, hey everyone, we have a new outro. So sorry this has taken a little while to get going for those of you that are over on the Patreon, but thank you so much to all of the $10+ patrons. Brutus, Salazar, Dylan Dworsky, Efrain, Jeremy Stevens, Joshua Adams, Malik X. Williams, Mitchta, Trent Hallmark, Victor, and Zach Zahner. Thank you very much for being $10 patrons. And also, thank you very much to just all the patrons in general. It's been really awesome to try and get this big website stuff off the ground. And I hope you guys continue to support me and are enjoying the content that is going up there, including this video. So yeah, it's been a fantastic time so far, and hopefully we can just keep it going. Have a good one, everybody. Hopefully you guys enjoy the new outro as well. I think it came out pretty nice. And that should do it. Later, all.